Welcome to this SWAGELok how-to video. Here's what you'll need to perform the procedure shown in this brief video. 2 open-ended wrenches, or 1 open-end wrench and a vise, a SWAGELok gap inspection gauge, a tube cutter or a hacksaw, a file or a SWAGELok deburring tool, a marker. The SWAGELok tube fitting is designed to provide a leak-tight seal for pressures up to the suggested allowable pressure rating of the tubing. It is a 2-ferrule mechanical grip hinging collating type connection consisting of a fitting body, a nut, a front ferrule, and a back ferrule. Proper tubing preparation is important when installing tube fittings. 2 common tools are used to cut tubing: the tube cutter and a hacksaw. Once the tube is cut, burrs created during the cutting process must be removed using a SWAGELok deburring tool or a file. This video focuses on manual assembly of the 1-inch and under SWAGELok tube fitting end connection. It is important to note that SWAGELok tube fittings come to you completely assembled, finger tight, and ready for immediate use. The tube fittings should not be disassembled prior to installation. Disassembly can result in dirt or foreign material getting into the fitting, which can interfere with sealing. The typical assembly is a 3-step procedure. These instructions apply both to traditional fittings and to fittings with the advanced back ferrule geometry. First, fully insert the tubing into the fitting and against the shoulder. Rotate the nut finger tight. Next, mark the nut at the 6 o'clock position. Marking the nut at 6 o'clock leaves no doubt as to the starting and ending positions. Finally, while holding the fitting body steady, tighten the nut 1 1/4 turns to the 9 o'clock position. For 1/16, 1/8, and 3/16 inch and 2, 3, and 4 millimeter tube fittings, tighten the nut only 3/4 turn to the 3 o'clock position. SWAGELok tube fittings are recognized for their gaugeability. On initial installation, the SWAGELok gap inspection gauge assures the installer or inspector that the fitting has been sufficiently tightened. To use the gauge, position it next to the gap between the nut and the body. If the gauge will not enter the gap, the fitting is sufficiently tightened. If the gauge will enter the gap, additional tightening is required. A benefit of using SWAGELok tube fittings is their ability to be disassembled and reassembled many times while retaining the leak-tight seal. Always depressurize the system before disassembling a SWAGELok tube fitting. Prior to disassembly, mark the tube at the back of the nut. Mark a line along the nut and fitting body flats. Use these marks to ensure that you return the nut to the previously pulled up position. Insert the tube with pre-swaged ferrules into the fitting until the front ferrule seats against the fitting body. While holding the fitting body steady, rotate the nut with a wrench to the previously pulled up position, as indicated by the marks on the tube and flats. At this point, you will feel a significant increase in resistance. Tighten the nut slightly. Do not use the SWAGELok gap inspection gauge with reassembled fittings. Also, do not mix or interchange parts with those of other manufacturers. Visit SWAGELok.com for additional product information. Thank you for watching. We will continue to develop videos like this to help you get the job done. Get more information by watching our other videos or by contacting your authorized sales and service center.